Chesapeake Motorworks here, and today we'll be working on a 2007 BMW X5 to replace the factory sport seats with comfort seats. The sport seats that are currently in it are heated with lumbar, and the importance of this is that they both have seat modules. Depending on the options, that's not always the case. I'm replacing them because the sport seats have the lumbar up way too high for me, and I just can't get it into a comfortable position, whereas I've sat in the comfort seats before and they fit me much better. I found the comfort seats on eBay in the same interior color as my X5. They were sold by a company called Prussian Motors, who was awesome to deal with, and they're fairly local to me, being just outside of Philadelphia. So I drove up there, picked them up, and that's what's in the back of the X5 right now. The comfort seats are in the back of the X5, and they have an articulating back. You'll also see this seat cushion here is trapezoidal, whereas on the sport seats, which will show up here, it's square. So you can see here, it's square instead of being trapezoidal like on the comfort seats. So that's probably the easiest way to identify them. Here are the two seats next to each other. This is the sport seat that came out of the car on the left, and the new comfort seat on the right. The biggest difference here is the articulated back. You can see here, there's a spot where it articulates on the comfort seat. The sport seat doesn't do that. And you can see all the controls on the side versus the sport seat that has less. The passenger seat here has something interesting to note, which is that the occupancy sensor has apparently failed. So you can see all these connectors here, they're not supposed to be like this. They're supposed to be in one central yellow connector that I'll show in a second. And this black box here is to fake out the seatbelt so that it always thinks it's buckled. And that's to prevent it from throwing errors, because this box back here, made by a company called Signetic, is a occupancy sensor emulator. So it basically tells the car that someone is always sitting in the seat, so the airbags will fire even when no one's up there. That's just something to be aware of. But aside from that, looks like the seat's fine. It's got some wear and tear, probably stuff to look at, but I think most of it will be hidden. And there's some trim missing on this as well. So there's a piece that goes here in the front to hide all the wiring and modules and stuff. And I'll just steal that from my existing seats. You can kind of see it right down here. So this piece, which should be clipped in, the clip's probably broken on it. And again, you can see the yellow connector back there. You can also see a seat module right here. If we get to the passenger side, and again, yellow connector, seat module right there. To remove the front seats, you first need to remove part of the seat belt with a Torx T50 right here. And to access this, you just move the seat up. Here's a quick note for when you remove the seat belt. This is the part that's attached to the chassis, and you need to feed it both out of when you remove the seat and back into this pocket here. And then the T50 goes in behind where I showed before. After that, you move the seat forward, and there's two Torx T50s in the rails. Then you move the seat back, and there's another two Torx bolts in the front. Unplug it, and you should be done. Got the seat out. Only thing I note on this is how the connector comes off. So to remove the connector, see this little tab here? It slides out. Just pull it like that, and it will release the electrical connector inside the car. Okay, here I am under the seat. You can see this slider is out. We've got our electrical connector here. Just goes in like that. Then you push this in, and it locks it in place. The second connector on my car I don't believe will be used. I have to check, but I think this is for a Pyrotechnic headrest, and because mine's an 07, it doesn't have that, so I'm leaving that disconnected. Here's the yellow plug on my passenger sport seat. So I'm going to try and remove these internal gray and black plugs, pull this yellow housing off, and swap it over to the comfort seat. Alright, sorry this is blown out. There's a tab here and a tab right there. You press it in on the side. You just kind of squeeze it in, I use the knife. And then all the plugs inside simply slide out. I also had to cut a zip tie right here that held the wiring in place. The comfort seats are in. All the functions seem to work, and there is no airbag light. The only exception is there is no heated seat distribution, but the heated seats themselves seem to work just fine. I had to swap some trim over from my existing sports seats, so this bottom piece here and this front piece right here. If you're wondering, there is supposed to be trim on this rail, but it was broken, and that's from the old seat. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more content.